Okay, so we are back at Singapore Grand Prix for FP2. Interesting FP1. Thank you to everyone who joined on the live stream of our little watch along. Fernando Alonso, quickest in the Aston Martin. Is that a sign of things to come for Aston Martin this weekend? Have they brought a stronger package? Will that car work better in this medium downforce track? Well, FP2 is going to give us an idea. But it was, but I think it was good for Fernando to be P1 in FP1. I do quite like FP2, even though practice is on the whole pretty boring. FP2, we tend to get a better idea of who's quick, unless it's Max Verstappen who likes to save it until qualifying last 3 minutes. But on the whole, we'll see whether Aston Martin are carrying that pace through. But then again, in Baku, we saw Lewis Hamilton quickest in FP2. Didn't really translate to qualifying, but he was on the wrong tyre at the wrong time. So, you know, this can happen. But overall, the Ferraris were pretty disappointing, weren't they, in Baku? But we're about to see Aston Martin. Let's see if they have brought a better package with them. Yeah, the thing is with FP2 is it's normally when the teams want to try and put in a quick lap. Yeah, 100% Gemma. Nice to have you in the chat. I will definitely do some edutainment videos for F1, especially for people who are new to the sport, who are just finding their feet in Formula One. It might be a good idea that, Gemma. We can do something on tyre strategy, pit strategy, engines, aero. We can do some techie stuff and some educational stuff so people can get up to speed with how the sport works. Yeah, good idea. So going back to Singapore Grand Prix, normally very, very hot, difficult race. Drivers can even, the temperatures can get so hot that we've seen drivers afterwards literally losing 5 or 6 kilos in weight during the race. Weather not too bad today though. Fairly cool. So what we're really looking for in FP2 is to see an early indication of which teams have got a reasonable setup for those cars. I'm expecting McLaren, Red Bull, maybe Ferrari, but it's also the teams that aren't always competitive. Like teams like Aston Martin might show a little bit of performance. Williams might show a little bit of performance. And if you look at that fantastic result for Williams in Baku with Carlos Sainz qualifying P2, finishing P3, their first podium. I mean, we might get some early indications. But free practice 2 starts in about 30 seconds. Get in the chat along. Anything you want to talk about? We can talk about the Christian Horner situation, if you like. We can talk about Cadillac. Get your questions in while we're watching, and I will try and keep you updated as best I can on the runners and riders and who's quick and who isn't. So, officially underway, FP2, the green lights out there for the cars to hit the track. Nobody out yet. but it looks like it's a humid day over in Singapore. Temperature's a little bit lower. Humidity rising. I wonder if Alexander Albon's going to get out in the FP2. He should do. In FP1, his Williams set on fire from a problem with the brakes. So Alexander Albon did not put a time up in FP1. And actually, Alexander Albon, if you've watched my Singapore preview show, Alexander Albon was my pick for driver of the day for the Grand Prix. Because what we do on our preview shows, we have a couple of fun things where we go, who do you think is going to be your driver of the day and who's going to be your dipstick of the day? Feel free to get in the chat and get involved in that conversation. My driver of the day prediction is I think Alexander Albon's going to come back strong after his Baku weekend where he put the car on the wall, and after seeing Carlos Sainz get a podium for Williams and qualify P2, I have a feeling that Alexander Albon is going to put in a shift this weekend. As long as his car doesn't set on fire again, as it did earlier on today. Yes, he's my prediction for driver of the day. My dipstick of the day prediction was, it's an obvious one. And no, it's not Lance Stroll. It was Franco Colapinto. That's who I think is going to be the dipstick of the day. But you can have yours say in the chat. So McLaren's coming out on the grid now. On the track now, I should say. Leaving the pits. Oh, everyone's leaving now. Verstappen, Alpines are out. Racing Bulls are coming out. Everyone's hitting the track now. With just 58 minutes to go. Why do they do that? They literally wait 2 minutes to get on the track as soon as the track opens. And then they all come out together 2 minutes in into FP2. They literally all hit the track at the same time. So everyone's trying to create a little bit of space. So all on their outlap. Leclerc has not left the pits yet. Ferrari not in a rush to get out for FP2. Or I should say Leclerc not in a rush to get out for FP2. So can Max Verstappen make it a hat trick of pole positions and wins? He's my prediction. I think he can. I think that Red Bull looks so much better with that new floor. And also, having a look at the upgrade they've brought. They're the only top team to bring an upgrade, actually, to Singapore. They brought a new front wing to provide even more front-end grip and more downforce for Max Verstappen. He loves that car to be super, uber positive. I don't know how Yuki Tsunoda will find that, because anyone else who has a car set up like Max Verstappen's, which is super twitchy and super high downforce front-end grip, they can't drive it. They just can't drive it. So we will see. But Red Bull have brought an upgrade to Singapore. And it's a very aggressive, high downforce front wing that's on Max's car right now. So we'll see. Because what they don't want to do is upset the balance that was brought to that car with the new floor. The new floor, which was an upgrade that was actually commissioned and organised by Christian Horner when he was team principal. That was an upgrade that he was behind. Obviously, some of these upgrades can take 3 to 6 months to actually be delivered. And that was a Horner upgrade that was delivered. And then Lauren McKee's got all the credit for it. How do you work that out? But yeah, that was a Horner upgrade. So we've got Piastri currently setting the fastest second sector time. He's gone purple. We saw Fernando Alonso quickest in FP1. Great that actually, because I'd love to see the Aston Martins fairly competitive this weekend. Even if they're just competing for some, points, 5th, 5th, 6th. It'll be good for the team. Good for Fernando. Aston Martin does tend to perform fairly well if it's a medium downforce track. So some of the drivers now trying to put in some hot laps. We see Piastri the 133. Now you've got to remember, just to give you an idea, in FP1, Alonso's time was a 131, a 131.4. So they're currently 2 seconds behind that right now in FP2. But I think if you're getting in the 131s, you're getting there and about it, where you want to be. But yeah, Fernando Alonso did a 131, 131.4. Norris just putting a 132.9. Lap time's coming down. Long way to go though. Over 50 minutes. Kimi Antonelli putting a 132.8. Well, it won't take long. They'll all be in the 131 soon enough. But I think Fernando Alonso was quite surprised to go quickest in FP1. But it's good. I mean, it doesn't mean he's going to get pole position in qualifying, but it does mean that it's an early indication that the Aston Martin's perhaps not going to be at the back of the grid and they've got a chance of getting into Q3 or do well in Q2. Right? It's a great circuit, this, so I love a street circuit. And at night time, as you can tell, if you're watching the coverage now on Sky Sports or whoever your F1 footage is with, it's dark now, the lights are coming up. Yeah, it's a vibe, but there's a real vibe about a nighttime race, especially on a street circuit. So currently you've got Antonelli, fastest man on the track at the moment. Norris, Verstappen, Leclerc, Piastri, Hulkenberg, Sainz, then Lawson, then Behrman, then Alonso, Sonoda, Hadjar, Ocon, Gasly, Stroll, Albon, Colapinto, Hamilton, Bortoletto, and Russell. That's your current order in FP2. Hamilton on a quick second sector. He's put that car P3 at the moment with I think it's a 130. Can't quite see it. I think it's a 132. So it's more pace. He's going to need to find more pace than that. Yeah, it's a 132. But like I said, if you're looking at Alonso's time as a little benchmark from FP1, they're in 131s, right? 131.4. Piastri's gone quickest now with a 132.7. But we will see these cars getting quicker. Nearly every car is on the medium tyre. Alonso's out on the hard, and Stroll is out on the hard. But it's only the Aston Martins who are on the hard tyre. Everyone else is on the medium. Norris fastest in the first sector, fastest in the second sector. Yeah. And he's gone P1 with a 132.2. Times are dropping now. Half a second quicker than Piastri. Sainz is putting a lap, P3. He's still half a second behind Norris's fastest time. And they're all slower than Alonso's quickest time from FP1. So really not the best indicator right now. Yellow flag. Oh no, it's clear. So what are we expecting? I'm expecting to see McLaren's up at the top, there or thereabouts. Weirdly, I'm not really expecting Red Bull to or Max Verstappen to be putting in a fastest lap today, because Max Verstappen saves it until qualifying. He always does. FP1, FP2. I don't know whether they just nudge back the engine power for practice, because we never really see Max putting in his quickest lap until Q3 qualifying when it matters. Up until that point, he's probably finding the limits, finding the edges, and tweaking setups. So Max could be 8th in FP2 and it wouldn't really set off any alarm bells. It is nice to see Alonso up there though, and Aston Martin fairly competitive, even in practice, because they do want to put in some sort of marker down to see where they are against everybody else. So normally the mid teams, like Lawson, he's just going to put in the second fastest time. Now, the mid teams will do this. The mid teams will want to see where they're up to. It's only really the teams who are really super confident. Hey, motorsport fan, he's back. Have you got a day off from work today? Are you watching from your office and just keeping up with what's going on in free practice too, when you should be working? I think there's a few people doing it though. I think there's a few people who are sat in their office and they've got a little window open on their YouTube while they're supposed to be typing out a report. It is Friday. Yeah, Motorsport Fan says it's only Alonso competitive here for Aston Martin. Historically, Lance was really poor here. Well, looking at we've not got any evidence that Lance is going to put in a time. In the moment, from what we've seen, Stroll, even right now, Stroll is nearly 3/10 behind Alonso. So we haven't got any quick times from Stroll yet. Alonso's still keeping him. See, that's the thing, isn't it, in Formula One? As long as you're beating your teammate, even in free practice, you want to be quicker than your teammate. Free practice, obviously qualifying, and in the race, you just got to beat your teammate. I'm not sure Lance Stroll has really even been competitive in that regard over a Grand Prix. I think he's been fairly close in lap times a lot, maybe with a tenth in it. But we're not seeing that right now. That's for sure. Oh, you're just chilling at home, Motorsport Fan. Yeah, good. He's got a Friday off. He's having a chill. He's having a duvet day. Got the Grand Prix on. Big duvet. Takeaway. Deliveroo. Just Eat arriving. I've got a bit of cold, to be fair. Again. I've got a cup of tea. So yeah, I'm open for listen, free practice is always, I think for everybody, it's always a bit boring. The most exciting thing that happened in free practice 1 was that the Williams set on fire before he even got out of the pits of Alexander Albon. It was a problem with the brakes. So we've not seen any times from Albon yet. On board with Alonso at the moment. He's not going to beat Norris's time. He put the fastest sector in sector 3 though. Put in P2. Wow. Okay. slower first sector, slower second sector, putting a quick third sector, and it's putting P2. Alonso's bringing the heat this weekend. He's come to play. Singapore is one of Alonso's strongest tracks, so it's not too surprising to see him quick here. Other drivers like Lando, Lewis, Charles, George, Max, and Carlos are also strong here. Good. I would like to, you know what, out of that list of drivers that you mentioned there, I'd like to see a strong Lewis performance, because obviously we all know about his loss this week of his dog, Roscoe. After 10 years, he had to be put to sleep. That is a very sad thing, losing a pet's like a family member. So obviously, like, and I've been there myself. I've got a dog. You know, I feel for him. So I would like to see Lewis put in a really good... Speaking of Lewis, he's gone P2. Just 1/10 behind Piastri. That's good. So Hamilton's just gone P2. We're just talking about him. But I would like to see... I'm rooting for Lewis this weekend. I really am. I'm hoping he can take all of that grief and all that trauma and really channel it into just making him laser focused. Yeah, that's what I'm hoping for Hamilton. And I'm also hoping that, you know, Carlos Sainz, after that uptick in performance in Baku, qualifying P2, getting a podium for Williams. Yeah, I'd like to see Sainz put in a good shift as well. I do think Max is going to get a hat trick though of wins. I think he's going to win here. And I think he's going to qualify P1 as well. Just Max not winning here once in his career is quite a shock. Yeah, but I think I've got a weird feeling. I think that Red Bull is so much better than it has been. That new floor upgrade's done wonders in bringing balance to the car. My only slight concern is they brought another new upgrade this weekend of a very aggressive, to create high downforce front end. Oh, it's been a crash. George Russell put it in the wall. Yeah, George Russell's put it in the wall. Lost his nose cone. Yeah, what was I saying before I got rudely interrupted by George Russell's crash? He's fine, by the way. He's just lost his front end. He's lost his front. He's just lost his front wing. Oh. Yeah, it's a real issue with that car. He's nursed it back home. Nursed it back to the pits. But yeah, I think Carlos Sainz with his podium finish is just really good news for Williams, and really good news for him. So I'd love to see him do well. I'd love to see him do well here. So Motorsport Fan says in the first few years here in Singapore, from 2008-2014, Alonso finished within the top 4. You see, Alonso is just one of those drivers, isn't he? Where you can never rule Alonso out. He's not only like a proper racer, but he's so smart as a Formula One driver. I was talking about it earlier on in FP1. And he's such a smart driver that I just watched the crash with Russell. He just overcooked it. Too quick into the entry of the turn. But he's such a smart driver. You know, if he gets given if Aston Martin's competitive next year, which I'm sure it will be, with the newly designed car, we might see Alonso's last season in 2026, and we might see him become world champion. And I know that sounds crazy far-fetched. It's Adrian Newey designing that car. It's an Adrian Newey car with a major rule change, with major regulation changes. They could be the quickest car on the grid. And if they are, Alonso could definitely be a safe pair of hands to bring that car home and win the world championship. I'm telling you, don't never rule out Alonso. He could be that guy in 2026. And then he finishes his career with a third world championship. It could happen. I'm here for the plot. I'll take it. So he said, realistically, Alonso shouldn't have finished in the top 4 for both 2009 and 2014. Third in that 2009 Renault shitbox. It's true. Fourth in the 2014 undrivable Ferrari. I know. You know, Fernando Alonso should have won more world championships. He is that good. He should have won more world championships. He should. But he's 44 now. And, he's doing it for all of us guys in our 40s. I'm rooting for him. I want him to... I want him to win a world championship. I think it'd be great for the sport. Because he'll be 45 next year. Can you imagine? 45 years old, wins his third world championship in his final season in F1. Bring it on. I'm here for the plot. Blow up the internet. Although, the mic drop moment for me regarding 2026 is I don't think Ferrari are going to be strong. I just can't see it with the problems that are going on in that team. I can't see Ferrari bringing a competitive car 26. And I can't see the Red Bull Ford power unit being any good either. I think the Honda unit's going to be great. I think the Audi unit's going to be great. And I think the Mercedes power unit's going to be great. But that's it. I think 2026, that Red Bull's going to be a shitbox. I do. And even the success we're seeing in that Red Bull car today is only down to Horner, and he's not even there anymore. That upgrade, that new floor upgrade, which has revolutionised that car, made it balanced, where it's had no balance all season, was a Horner upgrade. Not a Mekies upgrade. That's just the truth of it. It's just the truth of it. Lauren McKee's getting all the credit for this little resurgence in Red Bull, and it's not. The things that have made that Red Bull car good at Monza and at Baku was an upgrade commissioned by Horner when he was team principal. He realised that it needed a new floor, and it's taken all that time to develop, and now it's on the car. It was Horner that did that for the team. Horner. Not Lauren McKees. So when you factor that in, if Horner's still affecting that team in a positive way, it's too early to see what Lauren McKees' effect is going to be on that team and whether he's the right man for the job. And is he even running the team? I don't think he is. I think the only one person running that team, and he's already come out in the press yesterday saying it's his choice on who drives for Red Bull and Racing Bulls, and that's Helmut freaking Marko, the Dark Lord himself, the Svengali of Red Bull Racing. I completely agree, Motorsport fan. We need to see longer on how Laurent McKee's impact will be. I agree. It's too soon to tell. But what I don't agree with is Helmut Marko going on the PR offensive and trying to give Laurent McKee's credit for the uptick in the performance when it's not. That wasn't Laurent McKee's influence. The upgrades which have made a difference to the car was a Horner upgrade. So I don't agree with giving credit where it's not due. I tell you what we can credit Laurent McKee's for. He's come into the team and said, I want Yuki's car to have the same upgrades as Max's. And he's not going to use Yuki as just literally a test driver for Max's setups. I think that's something he has done. And I think Horner was guilty of that because he favoured Max, obviously. He would sacrifice the number 2 driver in that Red Bull seat to get data so they could give Max everything he needed to be competitive. Now, you can't win world championships like that as a constructor. Your second driver still needs to be scoring points. But as we saw at Red Bull over the years, he would sacrifice his second driver so Max could win the race. Your second driver gets thrown under the bus with basically not even the same car, different setups in order to give the data to Max. So you saw Pierre Gasly, rubbish. Alexander Albon, who they want back at Red Bull in 2020. Rubbish. It's not okay to do that. You can't win constructors' titles like that. So, Laurent McKee's getting rid of that element of the team. That's a good... I think I'll give him credit for that. I think that's Laurent McKee's impact so far. And helping Yuki... and giving Yuki a lifeline as well. There was a leaked document just before Horner got sacked, basically saying Yuki's out. This internal document said driver lineup next year under Horner was Hadjar, Max at Red Bull, and Liam Lawson and Arvid Lindblad in the Racing Bulls. And that was a leaked document. All that changed. So Lauren McKees comes in, and the one thing he brought to Yuki, he said, listen, Yuki, you're fighting for a seat. Even if you're out of the Red Bull car, you're fighting for a seat at Racing Bulls. So I think that's probably a positive, because Yuki's now putting in better performances. He's got 7 races left to try and stake a claim on a seat. But he has got a fallback plan, because Aston Martin's relationship with Honda, Aston Martin would have Yuki Tsunoda as their reserve driver because of the Honda connection. Because it's not just the Honda engines going in Aston Martin and that relationship. Honda are also a sponsor of Yuki directly. They actually personally sponsor his personal career as well. So that relationship with Honda and Yuki is incredibly strong. But does Yuki want to go from being on the grid for, what, 6 years to suddenly becoming a reserve driver? Pretty brutal. But that's Yuki's lifeline if he gets completely dropped from the Red Bull family. So yeah, a lot going on there. But we need him to look. It's very difficult, isn't it, when your teammate is Max Verstappen, who is probably the best driver in the world. So Max wins in Baku. Yuki finishes 6th, which is a big uptick. You think, oh, that's not bad. You know, it's a big improvement. The problem Yuki had with that good result is that Liam Lawson had a better result in Baku. He qualified P3 and finished P5, and Yuki couldn't get past him. So Liam won that head-to-head battle, and he was in the Racing Bulls car. So yeah, it's an interesting one. I think Yuki and Liam, it's head-to-head now. It's head-to-head. I think the sensible thing while we're talking about Lindblad though, Arvid Lindblad started off the season in F2, and you just watched him and you're like, wow, this guy's quick, great driver. You could see him, he looked a shoe-in for a promotion to F1. But then the next half of the season, he's dropped off. And you can't afford to do that in Formula One. You've got to be on your A game every single race. There is no dropping off. And he's really dropped off. And I think Alan Permain, I think it was in Hungary. No, it was in Baku, actually. Alan Permain came out and said, look, it might not be the right time to promote an F2 driver into Racing Bulls in 2026. A major rule change, major regulation change, completely new platforms. It might be the wrong time to promote an F2 driver at that point in the regulation cycle. And he might be right, because if you're stuck with Liam Lawson and Yuki, you know what they bring to the team. You know their feedback may have some merit because they've been driving in F1. The problem is, if you bring a rookie into a team when there's brand new regulation changes and they're giving driver feedback, you can almost go, listen, mate, if I want your opinion, I'll give it to you. Because you don't know, he's an unquantified... He's an unquantified source of information, because he's not proven himself to be a quick driver. So whatever input he's giving, I'm not sure how valid or valuable it's going to be whilst trying to develop a car after a major regulation change. So Alan Permain was probably right. So if they do not promote Arvid Lindblad, I think there's a real chance we see Liam Lawson and Yuki Tsunoda driving the Racing Bull next year. I do. So they can develop that car. And then if Red Bull don't manage to secure Alexander Albon for 26, then yeah, Isaac Hadjar, Max Verstappen in the Red Bull. So half an hour left of FP2. Yeah, Gemma, I can see you. You're only as good as your last race. It's true. I mean, I think you can get credit in the bank, you know, even if you have a bad race. Like Lewis Hamilton, for instance, being a 7-time world champion, he gets a lot of credit in the bank because he's won more world championships than anyone else on the planet, apart from Michael Schumacher. So when he's having a bad season in the Ferrari and he's giving feedback to the team, well then that feedback's valuable because he's proven it. But if you're a rookie driver in a team and he says, "Oh, the rear suspension's this," or "the car's shit," well, you kind of think, "What do you know about a good car and a bad car? You've been in F1 one race. You don't know shit about anything." Like seriously, you're a rookie. Like just have a cup of tea and you know, if we want your opinion, we'll give it to you. That's what it is. So having a couple of drivers like Liam Lawson's done his season, you know, you've got Yuki Tsunoda who's been in Formula 1 for 5 or 6 years. It maybe helps for the team for 26. So just 28 minutes left. So Hamilton, the fastest Ferrari at the moment. We saw that in P2, sorry, in FP2 in Baku as well. He was actually the fastest car on track. Now, this next half an hour, I'm expecting to see some hot laps to get an indication of just Hamilton's gone P1 with a 1:31.4. He had the fastest first sector. Now that's interesting because that's the time, pretty much the same time Alonso put in an FP1. Wow, Ocon, he's done a 31.4 as well, and he's gone P1. Esteban Ocon. All right, the times are going to start dropping now. He's on the soft though. He's on the soft tire. So everyone's gone onto the softs, which, as you know, the soft tire should always be the quickest tire over a lap. Hamilton start on the medium, Piastri out on the medium, Norris on the medium, Leclerc on the medium. So yeah, if you're on the soft, obviously the soft is the quickest tyre. Unless you're in Baku and it wasn't, the medium was the quickest tyre. That shouldn't be the case. Lawson's gone the fastest of all, second sector. So at least Alexander Albon's made it out on track for FP2 after his car set on fire in FP1. Wow. Okay. Looks like Liam Lawson he's crashed his Racing Bulls. Yellow flag. Yeah, Liam Lawson's had it. I'm not sure exactly what happened. I'm waiting to see it. But Liam Lawson has no tyre on his front right. So was it a puncture? Or did he hit the wall? I'm not sure. Red flag, session stopped. Whilst they removed that car off the track. I'm not sure. I need to see a replay of what actually happened to Liam Lawson. If you know, get in the chat and tell me what happened. His front right tyre is completely gone. So Here we go. We're going to see what happened to Liam Lawson. He's turn 16. Oh, oh, bit wide in turn 16. Coming into turn 17, he then drifted into the wall. Hit his right front on the wall, and his yeah, and then the right front tire just. Oh no, he's hit it harder than that. From a different angle, he overcooked it in turn 16. And he's slid into the wall rear end first, the back rear right, and then the rear front. And he's given it a proper hit in the wall. Sparks everywhere, debris all over the track, red flag. It is a mistake. It's obviously Lawson's mistake. After such a good weekend in Baku, that's not, Racing Bulls are not going to be very happy with him. You got to rebuild that car. He will not be back out for FP2. Yeah. Not a good look for Liam Lawson whilst he's in this competitive situation with Yuki Tsunoda, I can tell you that. Not ideal. So the red flag, session stopped. Liam Lawson taking the long walk of shame after it's his error. I mean, I understand that the point of practice is you are trying to find the edges, right? You're trying to find the limits. You're trying to find out. That's the whole point of it. Where's the limits of the car as it stands? But what you don't want to do is you're happy to find the limits. One thing you don't want to do is put the damn car in the wall. That is not where you want to be. So yeah, session is stopped. Yes, motorsports fan, Liam does. You know what? Liam does need to fix some mistakes. And do you know what I feel for him? Because Liam Lawson, he'll do something brilliant, won't he? Like, he can do something brilliant. He gets back on track. He gets dropped from the Red Bull team. Awful situation to be in for any driver. He bounces back, gets better and better and better, all the way up to his pinnacle where he qualifies P3 in Baku, Hadjar P10, finishes in P5, keeps Yuki Tsunoda behind him. Brilliant. And then rookie error, puts the car in the wall in FP2 at Singapore. He's quick, but Liam Lawson is a quick driver, and I do quite like his sort of confidence and, dare I say it, cockiness. But you can only be sort of confident and cocky if you're not putting the car in the wall, right? You got to finish your sessions. It's the most important thing. You're in your rookie season. What teams don't want you doing is crashing the damn car. Bring the car home. Finish the race. Score the points, the 1s and 2s. But don't put the car in the wall. It's not that deep. You know. But if you are that sort of driver who's pushing for the ragged edge, then you are going to put it in the wall sometimes, I guess. But as a rookie, you just don't want to be doing that. You just do not want to be doing that. So the session is currently stopped. What do you think of Liam Lawson, motorsports fan? Is he? Do you rate him as a driver? I mean, he's a prospect. Okay, here's the real question, actually. Has Liam Lawson done enough to secure a drive for 2026? Would you say he should have a drive in 2026? Because my personal view is that he has. I think Liam Lawson's a decent driver. And I think he's if I was Helmut Marko and I'm choosing my drivers for Racing Bulls, Liam Lawson gets the seat for me over Yuki Tsunoda. I know Yuki brings more money and politics. There's benefits. Politically, he's a good choice, but I think Liam Lawson is in his, it's his first season. He's quick, and he's shown a real resilience for getting dropped from the Red Bull team to coming back and driving well in Racing Bulls. So, apart from today, this was a mistake, but yeah, I think he gets the drive over Yuki Tsunoda for me. So George Russell just explained how he ended up in the wall, losing his front end. He said he lost the rear under braking. So he sort of went into the barrier head on, lost his nose cone, but it did put him out of FP2. Obviously, some repairs need to be done. It wasn't just a new front wing. Yeah, George basically saying he's been hampered by an early bath in FP2. He could have done with the extra time. Well, don't put it in the wall, George. Especially under contract negotiations at the moment. That's the last thing you want to be doing. Don't crash it. So 16 minutes left. They're still cleaning up the track after Lawson's accident. Esteban Ocon still P1 in FP2. Hamilton P2. Sainz P3. Behrman P4. Just bear in mind, Hamilton's on the medium tyre. Nearly everybody else is on. I think everyone else was on soft. So Hamilton's P2 on the medium. Piastri, Norris, then Leclerc, then Hulkenberg, then Alonso, then Verstappen, Gasly, Lawson, Hadjar, Antonelli, Stroll, Yuki Tsunoda, Albon, Russell, Bortoletto, Colapinto. It's not good news for Albon, this. He missed FP1 because of a fire caused by a brake issue. And now he's still not putting any sort of time in FP2. If you're Albon, you're going to want to, you're behind at the minute. Like Sainz is currently P3, putting in some respectable times. Albon's not putting one time in the 131s. He's nowhere near. Okay, yeah, they're just showing you a close-up of Max Verstappen's new front wing. It's so aggressive on the downforce. It's ridiculous, really. So they're all coming back out now for the last 14 minutes. All going to see if they can get a hot lap in. No. No. McLaren's crashed into the McLaren. Lando Norris's front wing is broken. Wow. All these teams just trying to get back on the track for the last 15 minutes of FP2. McLaren, broken front wing straight away. There could be other damage to Lando Norris's car. I didn't see the full incident, but this is crazy. In FP2, these are just cars leaving the pits, leaving the garages. So there was all the drivers get notified on the screen. Session resumed. And then as soon as that message hit the driver's screen, they're all out. They're all trying to get out. And then everybody wants to try and do a fast qualifying lap in FP2. And they're hitting each other in the pit lane. It's outrageous. So what happens here? Oh, it's a Ferrari. Charles Leclerc's Ferrari was released right into Lando Norris's McLaren. Lando Norris is just heading down the pit lane, and Charles Leclerc's Ferrari put him straight in the wall. Unreal. Yeah, Charles Leclerc. But the thing is, can you blame Charles Leclerc in that situation? He gets released from his mechanic. No, his mechanic releases him. He pulls out of his garage straight into Lando Norris. Wow. I mean, you've got to blame the mechanic that released Charles Leclerc there. But to crash in the pit lane when you're just trying to get back on the track for the last 12, 13 minutes of FP2 is ridiculous. Yeah, and now there's a queue coming out the pit lane. The thing about Singapore, it's one of those tracks that gets quicker. Well, most tracks get quicker, to be fair. More rubber that goes down. Um, but a lot of these drivers will want to put in a hot lap to see where they're up to. FP2 is where we get a good indication of what a hot lap looks like in each of these cars. So this is what I'm expecting now. Last 10 minutes, I'm expecting to get a little bit more spicy, a little bit more exciting. Some hot laps, some shenanigans. Hopefully Hadjar and Sainz still play nice. And let's see who's looking quick. Again, obviously Fernando Alonso was the quickest car in FP1. But FP2 normally gives us a much better idea. You see, what I don't understand is we knew there was a red flag and the session was stopped and all the cars back in the pits. Yet the clock still runs for practice. So they're sat there losing time through no fault of their own because one guy, Liam Lawson in this case, put his car in the wall and everyone loses 20 minutes of practice. So now they're all fighting to get back out for the last sort of 12 minutes. And then you get an accident in the pit lane. Because everybody wants to put in a hot lap. Which is weird because Hamilton's gone out on the medium tyre. Hadjar's out on the soft. He's gone fastest of all. Alonso, fastest of all, first sector. Alexander Albon's put his first lap of the day in. He's gone P9. Hadjar's P1, Ocon P2, Hamilton P3, Sainz P4. This is all going to change, trust me, in the next few minutes. We're going to see this change quickly. Alonso's gone P1 with a 130.8. Okay. Excuse me. Verstappen's put in the fastest middle sector. Verstappen gone P1, just pips Alonso by 2/100ths. Charles Leclerc does not look like he's going to put in a quicker time. So Verstappen, Alonso, Hadjar, don't think Leclerc's going to be able to pip Verstappen's time here. Leclerc's gone P5, 6/10 behind Verstappen. And Leclerc also on the soft tyre, not a quick time. Not long left, just 7 minutes now. Every team, every driver is going to try and get a quick lap in before the end of this session. They want to get a marker down. So we're not really seeing any quick times from Piastri. Piastri's on the medium tyre. Okay, he's putting in a quick... Piastri's on a flyer now. Let's see if this hot lap is good enough. Lance Stroll goes P3. He's still 5/10ths behind Alonso, both on the soft tyre. Just 6 minutes left. So Piastri's looking quicker. He's on the medium tyre. Verstappen's on the soft tyre. So we'd expect Verstappen to be quicker. But Piastri is very close here. Yeah, yes, motorsport fan. Fernando just built different. Is this guy even 44 years old? Yeah, I know. He's 5/10ths faster than Stroll. He's definitely had his Weetabix, Alonso, today. Piastri's gone fastest now. He's gone 1.5 tenths quicker than Verstappen. 5 minutes of the session left. This is where we're going to see the fastest times for sure. Hamilton's on an outlap. Hamilton's not been on the soft yet. We need to see what Hamilton's time's like on the soft tyre. Leclerc's out. Oh, he's been on the soft and he can only manage P6. 7.5 tenths behind Piastri's time. That Sauber does not look good. I'm watching Bortoletto trying to nurse that Sauber around the track. The Sauber does not look good. Looks a little loose, to be honest. I'm surprised Hamilton's out on the mediums again. Everybody's going to want to see putting a flyer lap on the softs, which is what they use for qualifying, to put their quickest lap in. That Sauber's rear end looks loose. So Lewis has come out on the soft tyre. So we are going to see a Lewis lap on a soft tyre. And he's going to go for a flyer. So let's see. Let's see where this Ferrari is in relation to Piastri. In that first sector, he's on a flyer. Taking full advantage of the 4 DRS zones in the circuit. He's pretty close. It's pretty close to Piastri. It was 4/10. Let's see what he's like in this middle sector. 3 minutes left. I'm rooting for Hamilton to put in a, give him some confidence. Let's have a quick time from Hamilton. Top 3. He's 2/10 down. He's backed out of his lap. Yeah, Hamilton didn't. Maybe he'll go for one more flyer now. He's got 2 minutes left. He's probably got enough fuel for another flyer before the end of the session. We're gonna see now. Aston Martin though, Alonso P3. We might not see a better time. That's Aston Martin looking pretty decent. Lance Stroll P7. Aston Martin obviously pushing for a Q3 performance tomorrow, and I can see it. I can see it. The Aston Martin looks so much better than they did in Baku. Hadjar's put that Racing Bull P2. He's put a marker down. Stroll had the fastest third sector and he's gone P6. Yet he's still 3.5 tenths slower than Alonso, his teammate. So 1 minute left. Who's on a flyer? Then most drivers making their way back to the pits now, to be honest. I think Bortoletto is pretty unhappy about Sauber's setup. Not really working for him. Yeah, I'm not sure we're going to get any of the flyers. I think it's going to finish out. Oh, Colapinto struggling. Hitting the wall again. Ollie Behrman just saved it from hitting the wall. Yeah, Lando Norris looks like he's struggling today. Obviously, we had the Charles Leclerc incident where Leclerc was released from his garage too early and put Lando in the wall in the pit lane where he had to get a new front wing. But Lando Norris has not been on it today. Piastri's P1, Hadjar P2, Verstappen P3, Alonso P4, great for Aston Martin, Norris P5, Lance Stroll P6, Ocon, then Sainz, then Leclerc, then Hamilton, Yuki, Behrman, Albon, Hulkenberg, Bortoleto, Gasly, Lawson, Antonelli, Colapinto, and Russell due to his accident. That is how it has finished for FP2. The takeaway from FP2 is Aston Martin looked like they came to play. Alonso fastest in FP1, fourth fastest FP2. We are looking for Aston Martin to have a Q3 performance. A Q3 performance for sure tomorrow. Makes it more interesting. I'm rooting for Aston Martin. I'd like to see them have a good result. You know, they need to score some points. Well, thank you so much to everyone, motorsport fan, to Gemma and everyone else who's been joining along with this watch along of FP2. We'll be back for FP3 and qualifying tomorrow. Hope to see you watching along with me then. But for now, enjoy the rest of your day. Ta-ta.